I'd like to welcome everybody to our Water and Sewer Board meeting of Monday, March 2nd. We are down a couple commissioners, but we still do have a quorum for today, so we will get started. The first item is public participation. Would anyone like to address us from the public? Okay, seeing none. The next item is stormwater movement.
Yes, as every month, we send a flyer out regarding the issue of stormwater. This just in, it's a monster found lurking in the storm drain. Thank you, Joy.
No problem.
Now we know better. You may think it's okay for little things here and there to be put down the storm drain. It's easy to forget that your one little thing and my one little thing eventually added to create a monster problem. That our storm drains don't filter what we put into them. They run directly into our lakes and streams. So keep our storm drains clean. We properly dispose of your motor oil. Pick up after your pet. Take your car to a car wash, and follow the directions when you fertilize your run. When it rains, down the drain. Any questions?
I was going to mention that, the Tree Commission has been talking about a few years ago, I think it might have been 2018, we did an event with Warren County Water and Soil where we asked people to consider adopting a storm drain, and we handed out rakes. And the Tree Commission is thinking about doing an event like that because, the leaves come from the trees, it's related to them. But in general, when neighbors help clear out their storm drains, it makes a big difference for everybody. So I'll keep you posted if that gets scheduled.
Sure. Up to try.
Yeah. Okay, so the next item is billing issues.
We don't now have any billing issues, but I did talk to the pastor, Darrell Perkins, with Nation Pentecostal Church. I talked to David. We can't relieve the penalties, but we can certainly entertain a payment plan. So I expressed that to him, and he said he'd like to meet to discuss that. So it's something I'll get together with David and myself and the pastor and sit down and discuss what kind of terms.
Okay, thank you. Now we have actually 4 items to consider on resolutions. We've added one today that David will speak about. But the first item is the approval of the water and sewer minutes from the February 9th, 2026 meeting. Did everyone have a chance to look at the minutes? Any concerns or want to make a motion?
Sure.
You'll make a motion? Second? Okay, all in favor? We are approved. All right, the next item is a resolution to approve the warrant. Would anyone like to make a motion? Chris? Commissioner Reed? Commissioner Brady, would you like to second? Or do you have any questions about that?
Yeah, I have a question for Veronica. I just,
You'll second it? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. And then we have the MS4 resolution with Jim Libra. Would you like to say anything
Yeah,
about that?
we've been discussing this probably for about 6 to 8 months. Joining the coalition, Warren County Soil and Water District has a coalition for the 4 right now, MS4 communities within Warren County. We'd like to become part of that coalition. Makes economic sense. The fact that it's such a large permit now compared to the older ones. It's a lot more work, and we've been very fortunate in the fact that Harry's done a lot of work with them already, and that's led to the fact that they don't have to do as much work between Harry and Sarah Frechtel and a couple of the gentlemen from Queensburg and Henderson for that. So,
The people who are doing the GIS method.
yes, that helps out greatly. So they did receive a grant that helps out with that. They got over a $200,000 grant to do a lot of that math. And look at a lot of the different areas for the MS4.
anyone have any questions or comments regarding that?
This, this, okay, this, timing thing. Is it due 1 year or
Yeah,
several years?
no, this is 1 year. This will be an ongoing. That's, I mean, this is an enormous new permitting system that New York State has put in. They've actually discontinued the old one. This is like year 3 of this new 5-year permit, and then it will just continue on. And if you can see,
do all these things in 1 year?
Yeah.
Wow.
and then if you look at the fourth line, the fourth box down, it's going to be reviewing years 1, 2, 3, and planning for years 4 and 5, and then this will just continue. As everything with most states, they mandate it to the municipalities.
I got a question about accountability. Is there, I mean, we wouldn't be entering into it, I assume, if it was completely on us if they made mistakes, but it's kind of like your accountant, like, as long as you give them your accurate information and there's a problem, then there's sort of a let's work and see what's up. We don't get slammed with some huge fine. You know what I mean? If we're part of this consortium of these communities doing this, if there's an issue, there's workability, there's back and forth.
Accountability
Just,
through the county, through the
yeah, and us, or like
yes,
it's shared a little.
yes.
Okay.
Anything further? Anyone?
Motion?
You'll make a motion?
What, between the finance order?
Okay. So, I think Commissioner Reed made a motion. You'll second it? Is that a?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All in favor? Okay. Motion carries. The fourth resolution, the Common Council approved something at our last agenda, on our last agenda that our attorney mentioned should have been included on this agenda, so I'd like you to tell them about it.
What it is, it's a license agreement, you know, those landlocked parcels up at Watershed Property. So one of them that the board had previously given a license agreement for, the 2 contiguous parcels is owned by Stedman. They're now selling that. So the new owners just want a license agreement for access. Just like in the past, they asked for an easement. We explained that we can't do easements, so you get a license agreement. I just used the same template. Here are the rules of the game. If you violate our rules, we revoke your license agreement and you can't get to your property. So Common Council approved that at the prior meeting. So we just have to have the board approve it because it's watershed property.
Second?
We'll move it.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
All right, perfect. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we are approved. And now we'll go to discussion, and the first item is the electrical upgrade.
Okay. Well, if I may, I'd like to go out of turn since
Oh.
Tom Gilman's here.
Oh, sure.
Sure, Tiny, we can speak about the
Thank you.
red pine.
Oh, yes, sure.
Yes, sorry to be here actually I got a handout for everybody. So we were reviewing the plantations 2 weeks ago. And we noticed the plantations are made up with red pine and white pine. And we noticed that the red pine was not looking very healthy at all. I called Bill and said, gee, Bill, we have a problem. And last Monday, the DEC Forest Health Specialists came in and confirmed what we thought. It's something called a red pine scale. It's been in New York for 75 years, but never been this far north until recently. And it's a little tiny insect that basically sucks the sap out of the branches by the needles. And it's fatal to the trees. So in the plantation, there's nearly 400 acres that in the next 12 months, all the red pine trees will likely die. That's that quick. They found it in Lake George last year when somebody called and said, what killed my red pine trees. So, it's luckily we can salvage them. There is a value. What red pine markets are fair. So I got information about the red pine scale there, and we'd like to plan up to 4 harvest units. And what we started doing already is inventorying the units. So typically we used to sell timber lump sum, where you tally every single tree that you're going to sell. Very time consuming, and in this case the trees are declining. So what we did was we started taking inventory plots and measuring only the red pine trees, and we'll get decent statistics to come up with a volume of trees. And then instead of selling it lump sum, and it is, we now understand it's municipal law, you have to put things out to bid. We would ask the buyers to bid on the price per unit. So much 1,000 board feet or so much a ton, and we'll be able to, we have an estimate volume. We have to make sure that they, process the trees correctly and things like that. The other thing is, it should be done very soon for 2 reasons. One is the trees are declining. The second is it's springtime, and those plantations are flat and dry, and loggers and buyers need a place to be in the springtime. So we can capitalize on value by providing timber sales. It could be multiple going at once in the springtime. Let's see. So if possible, by next week, I'd like to be able to mail out bid packages. Now, typically, I bring a completed bid package to the board, and the board votes on it, and then we can put it out to bid and collect the bids, and then like the following month, come back and get approval for the prices. I don't know if there's a way to get that process completed quicker or not.
When you say we put it out to bid, do you mean the city?
No, F&W on behalf of the city.
You would put it out.
We put it out to bid.
Okay.
Yeah, we usually mark all the timber and say this is the estimated value and the volume, and the board will approve us putting it out to bid. And we send it to 30, 40 different buyers. We show the timber, so there's a day when we meet potential buyers there and answer questions, show them the timber. They then submit a bid, and it's usually 30 days later that we come back to the meeting and say this is the bids, and we recommend you accept this bid. I think it would, if possible, it would be better to get this out sooner than later, because of taking advantage of the spring season, and I think more people will be interested in cutting it if it's in the spring and not summer. But I don't know what's allowed with the process and things like that.
Is there a processing advantage to getting it this spring and having it available at some point during the building season, or is that way too quick?
We'd like, if we could,
Like further incentivize for them to get it now, get it.
it would be better for them for buyers to start in April, because all the other forests around here, it's mud season, and here it's sandy, it's flat, there's no streams involved, nothing like that.
Two other things you may want to talk about is the undercanopy seems to be
Yes.
growing.
So these forest stands, we've thinned them multiple times in the last 40 years. I thinned a couple of them. I've been the forest manager for 25 years on these properties. And because we thinned them and opened them up to sunlight, there's a lot of young young trees, mainly white pine coming up underneath. So while some areas where it's all red pine, it's going to be an opening. It's going to be a lot of daylight in there. But in other places, there is a larger pine plus these the larger white pine and this understory that's 10, 20, 30 feet tall already. So it won't look as drastic. If we don't cut, because someone could ask, well, why should we cut them? They'll all die. They'll fall down. Could be a safety hazard. And also, there's probably an increased risk of fire. So,
So your question about timeline, is it about reducing the time that the bids are out, or is it about us meeting at a different time? What is your?
we would try to speed up our process, like mail out and email out the bid proposals, have a showing the following week, and bids back the following week instead of leaving 2 weeks between those, and then approval by the city.
That seems fine to me.
Okay.
Do you have? is
You
there
know, as
anything
long as
else?
it's reasonable period of time, under the circumstances, I mean, I don't wanna say it's water, I don't wanna say it's an emergency, but it's certainly getting close to one where significant, city asset is in jeopardy of being compromised, so I have no issue with that time frame.
And we still have to put it in the paper and advertise it.
Yep.
And we can do that as soon as we have the data. We do that together, so.
Is there a replant situation happening, or the undergrowth, like you say?
The undergrowth
You're
is
like that.
there,
So
so there's no need to plant. We wouldn't want to plant red pine again.
yeah, right.
And the white pine is thriving in places there
Not affected by this.
and not affected by that.
April 6th will be our next meeting, so
Okay.
what do you think you'd be?
Probably be able to have, if I can get it out to bid, and we have bids back and everything by the 6th. And if we could do contracts immediately thereafter, that would be really good.
Okay, good,
We don't have anything to approve.
Our purchasing policies require us to put it out and get more than one, quote. We can't just approve it now before putting it out to bid.
We're going to approve him to go ahead and prepare it, but we can't approve a bid because we don't have anything to approve. It has to go out. It has to go to several different foresters
yeah.
and see loggers to see
So as noted,
what the best prices we can get.
typically we sell lump sum. But in this case, they're bidding on the price that they will pay per unit. So it is still a bidding process, which I think meets the municipal law. So what happens then is so there's a buyer, they have a contract. We present them with a multi-part load ticket for every load that leaves, and they're numbered. And then they actually sell the wood, and then the mill pays them, and then they pay the city. They'll pay F&W on behalf of the city. We'll process it, make sure it's correct, and then send the city payment weekly. We can write checks, but our company likes to do direct deposits, ACH type payment. I don't know if that's an option. Everybody gets their money quicker and things like that. So that's something we can discuss in more detail. So we supervise the sales, making sure that they cut saw logs into saw logs and pulpwood into pulpwood, because that matters.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to ask you. What is this wood being used for?
Yep. So there's three main products with red pine. One is saw logs. The market's fair. Most of it goes to Canada. There's pulpwood, which will go to the IP mill in Ticonderoga. And the money is telephone poles. And there's a lot of telephone poles out there. And I know we'll get a bid from the telephone pole manufacturing company. And the more telephone poles there are, the more money there is. To give you an example, red pine saw logs probably pay $50 a thousand board feet. The equivalent in poles would probably be $150 a thousand board feet. So, so that's what we're making sure if there's poles that we should utilize the poles. I do think we need to have a little bit of public outreach on this because it's going to be some serious cutting in a few places. Some of it is right behind houses, like Penny Ann, Lily, what's it called? Lady Slipper Drive. Those trees go right up to their backyards. So I'd like if we could collaborate on a letter to maybe some of the residents. Bill and I were talking maybe an article in the newspaper so that when people start seeing trees fall, they can.
Well, I'd like to have time to get that public comment before we pass that
Mhm.
resolution. It sounds like we have time because you're talking about April, right?
Yeah.
So we can work with our communication person.
Okay.
And we can talk with you and get.
And we also asked the DEC
And
to
the
give us,
DEC,
give
yeah.
us a comment.
Yeah. Because we're talking about mostly Queensberry residents.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's all worship.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and some signs along the Hathaway Brook Trail, hiking trail, because that gets so much public use. You know, there might, when the cutting is happening right up next to it, maybe we shut the trail down for that day or something like that too. So, because regardless of the reason we're doing it, the forest health considerations and salvaging, there's going to be someone in the public that doesn't like it. So, for sure.
Well, nobody likes to see unnecessary trees cut down, but from what the DEC's information is, they were going to fall and die anyway,
Yep, it will.
correct?
Yep.
Yes.
And then
And then it creates fire
it
hazard.
creates a hazard,
Yeah.
Yeah.
both for people walking, because it falls on the trailer, and a fire hazard.
Okay.
How about, we got a meeting 2 weeks from now, like a special meeting, to get the,
I'm not sure if that's enough time for him to get the bids out, and get them back, and
No, I would think we could send out mailings and emails
I think
next week, and I'll whatever
I
we
think
send
you-
out, I'll run through Bill
Yeah.
to make sure Bill.
And I
knows
think
what's
even
going
even a month is pretty challenging.
on.
Yeah, and to your point about the public outreach, I think it's a good idea to something in the Chronicle.
What's
Some
that?
explanation on
Yeah,
it.
I'll send it to both.
You get a comment from DEC that there's
Yeah.
no treatment for this, there's no spray, these trees will not rebound.
No, that's what we said. We did.
Yeah.
The two girls and the gentleman from DEC that were out there said they just have to run it through their legal dumpster.
I have a sample timber sale contract that we would propose. It's different than our normal City of Glens Falls. And if you have time at some point to review that.
Yep.
It's tells you the whole process and our safeguards, and you know, we still collect the insurance and performance deposits and everything like that.
All right, I will give it a review. I can scan it out as well.
Any questions? Let me know.
Does DEC, is DEC gonna try to, and this is just for my own curiosity, gonna try to stop the spread of this, or is it, there's no way to stop it?
It's been in New York for 75 years, and there's no spray or, you know, other insect that eats it, or
The Jones disease or the
Invasive,
Ashburn beetle?
invasive species. That
yeah, it's an invasive species from Japan,
You know,
and it was, you know, I wonder now why there's no money in red pine in southern New York, because they've long since died.
Yeah.
But this is the first time that it's been found up here at the edge of the Adirondacks, and not this winter, but you know, warmer temperatures might allow it. So, and of course,
They found it up in Saranac too. So.
I think so. Yeah. Of course, you know, red pine plantations. There's a lot of red pine in one place, if scattered trees, it's less likely probably to find it, but, and they blow by wind and they go by birds, so it's just one of those things. So,
So I would request that you just work with Steve on the public comment, getting it in the papers, and make sure you direct where they can send comments so that we have them probably your to you. I imagine, right? Yeah. Okay. Any other questions regarding this? Okay.
thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for coming down.
Yep.
Okay.
Want to go
As
back
soon as
to the
we have
beginning?
something.
Yeah, we'll go back to the electrical upgrade.
Okay.
We're continuing with that. Ask the lady if she's asking us questions. At the end of the design, we tried to throw some other stuff in that we probably will need right now. Just go over the original project, and then at some point try to add that.
Mhm.
We're talking probably before we will look at the one unit here in for building, in a second. So we may just pay for one of them next year. Looking for them one in and the additional blower. So we'll take
All right.
request for proposal for engineering inspection. So the reservoir intake, reservoir and intake dams. We're still in the process of doing that. We're going to look at it's doesn't reach the total that we need to go out to bid or RFP for. We have to ask for prices from the Fulton Energy.
That's to replace the gunner, right? that we're going
No, that's not the gunite. That's the dams themselves to be inspected.
Oh, right,
By a
right,
professional
right.
engineer. It's required, some of them 2 years, some of them 4 years. So, we're still working on that. The VACCON truck, as I said, the local rep that we were gonna use doesn't rep VACCON anymore. So it's like a Ford dealer changed over to a Chevy dealer. So they rep now Camel. So we're not familiar with that truck. They're coming the week of March 23rd to give a demonstration on it. They're all very similar, but there's all little nuances to each one of them. So we'll take a look at that. KPI over in Queensbury does a lot of TD and sewer cleaning, probably up and down the East Coast. It's going to come over and look at it also. They have several of them. I did talk to Kevin Mitchell, and they love them. So
Yeah, good.
we'll see.
I didn't know we knew anybody that experienced the bringing.
Yeah, no, Kevin said they love them. So, okay. Tom Dillon, we just heard from. The lead and copper rule sampling, that's something I'm looking to get Arcadis involved with to doing the schools. Usually it's junior high schools and below, so we'll have to do junior high schools, the elementaries. The one that we'll need some help with is daycares. So we have to do registered daycares. So we'll have to take samples and just hold on to get the results. I'm pretty positive that schools have already done it, so I don't think we're going to find anything, but it's to satisfy the one copy.
I have a meeting coming up in the next couple of weeks with Southern Adirondack Child Care Network, and they do a lot of the they work with all the child care centers. Is it that you need a list, or
Yes.
I can ask them about that?
Okay, that would be perfect, because I think that's what we're going to ask Arcadis to do. Jeremy looked up and looked at the link too. I just want to make sure we're getting everything, and I want to make sure we meet the requirement that has to be registered, and what's the qualifications that trigger what has to be seen. Okay, I do have a couple more I added this morning. As you all wrote in here this morning, I don't know if you were behind a tractor trailer or not, but
One was coming out.
yeah. The road has become quite bumpy. It's a lot of deterioration from the truck traffic for Finch. They're supposed to be fixing their issues with their main entrance this week. The cold weather has hampered them, so probably by the end of the week, hopefully they'll start working and finish it next week. They also sent a notice to me, and I shared it with Tom and Steve. I don't know if I copied you. They were looking at using the Glen Street entrance. They have that gate there on Glen Street, which is probably going to be a nightmare getting trucks in and out of that traffic coming for the bridge stuff. So I don't know how they're going to, because they're shutting all their processes down, which means they have to bring pulp in. They can't manufacture it, so they're bringing in continuing paper
For
process.
everyone?
No, just for the week or whenever they're down until they get these pipes repaired.
That's,
So they had a couple pipes that were bad. Not only is the road deteriorating during, not this Friday, the previous Friday, the snowstorm. This has happened several times. Trucks slide down the road, and they took out one of our light poles. So we made them aware, but they said that they're happy to pay for it. So we're in the process of getting quotes to get that replaced. And we probably put a couple values.
Do we have some sort of agreement with them about using our right of way, or just sort
I
of
think
informal?
no, I don't. I don't know if we can stop them because it's a city street.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we can stop them from using their gate. So
But in terms of like damage that's done to.
I think we'll be talking
Yeah.
to them. We might put them on notice that it has interior quite a bit.
Is Megan that, you know, they had a local.
No, because they're going to pay for it.
Right, but she's any like accidents or anything, was it reported?
I don't think it was reported. We had to go back on our cameras. We couldn't really tell what truck it was. We could tell a time period. So it was up, at 5:30. We go back and we look at 6 o'clock. It wasn't there. So finally, the initial third ward drainage study is completed. We're going to step on to the next phase. So Warren County Soil and Water is bumped it up from it was 33,000 because we had a 10% match. It's going to go to 50,000 for some more implementation things. It's maybe some preliminary design.
We're talking about the Sanford Street area, that
Yeah,
area.
that area. And what we're looking at is doing is not only doing initial cleaning drainage there and trying to figure out what's going on because we have a couple of pipes that we think are going under houses and properties, but we're also looking at maybe shedding some of the water off of that area and to another drainage site. So, and finally, today hopefully is the last cold day we talked about. And as we know, once this happens, we start getting melts, puddles, and we get a lot of calls about puddles and things like that in front of people. So sent the field crew out today to try to address the trouble areas, make sure the catch basins are open. So try to find out whichever ones are buried. But anytime we get snow melt and rain at the same time, it creates. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of calls, but we will be out addressing those issues. But we did finally get away from frozen lateral lines and surface lines. We did have a pretty big issue on 4 Lincoln. There was the surface line came in and we couldn't locate it. Finally, we located it. It came in, made a 90 to the right, and then another 90 into the house. And in between the two 90s is a huge tree. It went right under the tree. And so we rerouted it. We finally got those people on, and there was a lot of cooperation between residents because we were able to what we call hose over. So we take it from one hose bed to the other hose bed in the houses, so at least they had water. So that was nice, very neighborly. So, but now we've gotten all of that taken care of. Now it's going back. We've had rip-ups of the sidewalks and things like that. Taking care of those once the spring hits and we get some of those sidewalk panels that we haven't repaired.
Happy to hear the third ward water project is moving forward.
Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah, we'll keep going, and Jim seems to pleased with these grants, but continue. So it's nice to be able to utilize that.
Okay. All right. Great. Does anyone have any other business? Any further discussion? Okay. Would anyone like to make a motion to adjourn? I have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We are adjourned. Thank you.